Good afternoon, class. Welcome to Satan Worship 101. I am your guest lecturer, Mark Bernardin. I have some faculty I'm going to bring out to help walk us through. First, executive producer, Ildy Modrovich. Executive producer, Joe Henderson. Tricia Helfer. Rachael Harris. Aimee Garcia. Kevin Alejandro. And the Dark Lord himself, Tom Ellis. Tom, would you like to lead the choir in a song?
Well, we christened our new theme tune last year at Comic-Con, so we thought it'd be a nice way to start the panel and get everyone in the mood to have a little rendition of our new song. So obviously, when we cut to commercial breaks on the show, there's a bit of a riff that goes. That's a guitar, by the way. Joe and the writers' room made up some lyrics for it.
We did.
It goes, crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it. So do you think we can all do that? We'll do one all together, and then you guys join in, okay? Ready? Crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it. Crime-solving devil, it makes sense, don't overthink it.
Joe and Ildy, let me ask you a question. If the first season of Lucifer was about him being re-engaged with humanity, and the second season was about family, like, as fucked up as that family is, but it's about family. I'm sorry, are there children here? No! Awesome. What can you say about where season 3 is going? What's the theme you guys are pushing into for season 3?
So season 3 is identity, because Lucifer woke up in the middle of the desert with 2 wings on his back, and he doesn't know why they're there. He doesn't like it much, and he's kind of pissed. So what we're gonna play with is what happens when the devil feels like someone's trying to tell him he's something he's not. You want to tell me that I'm an angel? I'm gonna prove to you how wrong you are. It'll be fun.
Lucifer does not like to be told what to do.
Yeah, so expect a lot more, I guess, a deeper dive into devilishness.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Tom, Lucifer needs to be a lot of things. He's got to be dangerous and seductive. He's got to be tragic. He's got to be funny. What's the light you use to navigate that very tricky path by?
Oh, sorry, say that again. It's got terrible feedback here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Lucifer's got to be a lot of things. He's got to be dangerous and seductive and funny and tragic. How do you navigate that? That seems like a lot of rocky shoals you would run around on.
That's a very good question. Well, a lot of it, I have to say a lot of it is in the writing for me. So, it's, paid me to say that. A lot of it's there. I think, trying to think about the confusion for Lucifer in this new world, and that everything is new, and he's constantly learning, is a big thing. But mainly just trying to get that sort of subversive sense of humour about it all. I think that sort of helps the navigation and take the weight off it slightly.
Last time we saw Lucifer's mother, she was John Milton in another dimension, leaving Charlotte her body back. Seems like that could have been the end, but it's clearly not, because you're here. So. And this is also not the first time you've played characters who've kind of inhabited multiple bodies and different psyches. Like, what's your little key to doing that? Like, how do you do the waypoints for, like, what is Charlotte? What is Mom? What's the magic trick?
Well, since I haven't really been Charlotte yet, it's going to be a new experience in season 3 for me. But I mean, you see them as different. When I did the robots in Battlestar, I always saw them as different people. So even though they may look the same, their experiences are completely different, and that's what that makes them individual. So with Charlotte, keeping with what Joe said with identity, that's going to be a lot of Charlotte, of figuring out who she kind of is now, what happened to her in that time frame that Mom inhabited her body. She obviously doesn't know that happened, so kind of figuring out what just happened. Was it amnesia? What she had a husband. How to explain everything that Mom put her through that she doesn't know anything about? So learning what she supposedly did for the last few months, and then also kind of somewhat figuring out where she was herself. There's kind of, I think Ildy said I can say this, there's kind of 2 places you can go, right? And I guess you'll have to wait and find out where she went and how she figures that out herself.
Kevin, how are the improv classes coming?
Thank you for asking. I think you're going to get a little bit of insight on that this season, actually. We'll revisit that live, and it's going great because I'm really good at it, obviously. It's going to be fun, I think.
I mean, one of the most interesting parts of the season as a viewer was watching your character kind of move from antagonist to a lighter tone in the show. Like, was that something you were angling for, or was that just a happy coincidence?
You know what? That's just a happy coincidence, man. I think, I'm going to attest to the writing once again, like everyone else does, because they're great. You want to change things up for everybody, right? I mean, you get a certain idea of somebody, and it's always a really pleasant surprise when they switch it up on you. And I think that's been one of the most inviting things about playing this character, is that you never really know where he's going to go. And I think this season in particular, you see him at the end of last season with a broken heart, and he's just sort of like, whoa, what's going on? Why don't you understand who I am? In reference to Charlotte. And I think you get to experience that this season as to, how he deals with trying to revisit that love, quote unquote, don't quote me, that he experienced, that experience with her. Excuse me, I'm busy.
Tom, can you tell me what the most devilish thing that's happened on the set? Do I get a bunch of points?
No. Most devilish thing. Well, we've got a few pranksters. Kevin being one of them. But also, sadly, Lauren can't be here today, but Lauren does like to have a laugh. Let's just put it at that.
Meaning she's never, ever, ever serious about anything.
No.
Ever.
And on my birthday last year, she filled my trailer with cardboard cutouts of a certain person that had been on the show that wound me up a little bit. That was quite interesting. There were several of them, and I thought I'd got rid of all of them, and then I went for a wee, and there was one in there as well. So, frightened my life.
The show for the first couple of seasons shot in Vancouver, right up in Canada, but now you're coming to LA. What does that mean, right? I mean, what does it mean for you guys to actually be able to be on location in Los Angeles?
Go, Aimee.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for LA to be a character. I think that instead of having to cover up rain and lack of sun, it's going to be really cool to see Tom drive his badass Corvette, 1964 black on black. Shooting in LA allows us to shoot at Griffith Park and Magic Castle and all these cool places that are landmarks of the city, and it allows LA to kind of be a character in this really cool story.
Yeah, when the devil comes, takes a break and decides he wants to go to the city of sin, like you want to see that sin, and now we have that opportunity to take it there, and really show you where that world is and what that world is, right?
And also,
Some say yes.
And also,
No, and also a lot of us have families that live in Los Angeles, and so a lot of times we were commuting back and forth, and so it's nice to be able to go home at the end of your workday and be with your kids.
And by the way, one shout out to our Vancouver crew, who we loved, and in fact,
This T-shirt is actually designed by several of our crew. You see it?
Who, they're in the hot tub.
Several of our crew in Vancouver. Stand up.
Tom with a huge black.
It's been edited for those under 18.
They were a little generous.
It's
in
huge
some
black
areas.
exaggeration.
These are the crew members that made it. We loved them all so dearly. It was really kind of heartbreaking leaving them. And I'm not saying that just to say it. It's the truth. It was a really sort of weird, sort of double-edged sword. But I think the show needs to be in Los Angeles. And, we just can't thank them enough for getting us to this point, basically. It was so integral to how the show worked.
Rachael, it's been really nice to see Dr. Linda go from a character who only really interfaced with Lucifer to be able to touch sort of every other storyline in the show. My question is, when are we going to get Girls' Night Out 2?
We love doing that episode. I don't know when our next Girls' Night Out episode is going to happen, as I'm eyeballing Ildy and Joe. But I will say that there's more. We've done so much where Dr. Lind does interact with other characters, and she's asking them to look inside themselves, and she asks them to tell me more about what's going on and what's, but the thing is that we've never really asked Linda those questions. And so given the fact that she almost died at the end of season 2, and she's coping now with the reality of being the only person that really kind of knows this celestial, supernatural world exists, she's starting to maybe be in denial about how much it's affecting her. So I think we're going to see a few cracks as I'm looking over at all the writers that are here, whom I absolutely adore. Our writers are here and they're awesome. But they've worked very hard to, I think, get to know Linda a little bit more. Like, we don't really know her backstory, and so that'll be really nice.
we've been working on some Dr. Linda backstory recently. And by the way, the 4 standalones, which were the episodes highlighted in that reel, are giving us an opportunity to dig into all of the characters here and there, and it's something we're going to continue into this season. We're very, very fortunate to just have a very rich world of characters. These guys are okay too, and we are going to dig into them, and it's been really fun.
Linda's lap dancing days. It's a really great episode.
Yeah.
Yes,
You guys
lap
are gonna
dancing
see
days.
how she became, how she went from stripper to therapist.
But I was also a phone sex operator in there, and that was in
Yes,
Wilson.
that was-
So
yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah, and undersea explorer in the middle of that. That's,
Mountain climber.
Joe and Ildy, like when I look at your cast, when I look at the writers and your staff, when I look at the directors you have doing episodes, it seems as if, I mean, I might be implying an intentionality, which I hope is there, but it's an incredibly diverse group. And it's the sort of thing where you hear of shows like The X-Files, who's had one woman writer in 300 episodes. Like, was it something you guys from the jump were insistent upon doing?
You know, it's funny because our staff, actually our writing staff, is half women, half men. Our cast, we actually have more women than men, just saying.
As it should be.
So,
Tom is secretly trying to get rid of every other guy on the show.
and you know, especially a show that could be kind of possibly macho, possibly sexist, it could be. We wanted to make sure that we had all voices represented, and it really is that, not to sound corny, but as opposed to, it's representative of what the world is out there. We have people of many colors, we have both sexes equally represented. So it's, you know, we just start representing real life.
I represent the sexist pigs. Very good job. edit.
I clearly represent the saints. Let's summon demons together, people.
No, can I just say though, in fairness, Joe and Ellie were fantastic together as the two co-exec producers, and I think that they lead by example, and all of our writers are very strong, and they all have a lot of respect for one another, and it's exciting to get a script and be excited to get to do the work that we get to do.
Thank you.
So
We like the philosophy of when you see a writer's name on a script, the voice might be slightly different. It's still the show, but there's a little reflection in that. I always liked watching X-Files, and I'd see a name, and I'd be like, oh, this will be a really good one. Oh, a Vince Gilligan episode. That'll be a little weirder, a little darker, and it's fun with our writers because we have an amazing writing staff to let them,
And that's why when we get it, we like to just just erase all evidence of them and just stamp ourselves on it.
That's why every episode is now written by Joe Henderson and Ildy Modrovich.
That's right.
Thank you guys. That was really nice of you to read that.
We love our writers.
Aimee, all too often, and we've seen similar types of characters on shows before. We've seen the lab nerd, which is just a bag of quirks. But it absolutely seems as if your character is a character. She's a person. She has wants and needs. What's a secret that you know about her that helps you to flesh out that character?
Honestly, I think that she is just one of us. It really is. I mean, I think that it could have been written really one-dimensional, and I tell the writers all the time that I've never met a character, male or female, who speaks Klingon, knows her science really, really well, has a very bad experience with Vegas, is from the ghetto and knows how to pick a lock because her abuelita, her grandma, taught her how to do it, and she's still klutzy and a major goof, and also, a woman of faith and a woman of science. So I find her to be such a unique, well-rounded character, and I never know what she's gonna do, so I really feel like I love that she isn't really defined by a romantic relationship. She's in her own lane. She represents women of science. We have people tweeting me, thank you for representing women in STEM, and I love that she's very clear about her faith and who she is, and she's not self-conscious. I feel like a lot of other characters on the show have so much baggage, and they're dealing with so many things, and with her, she's just like no filter, what you see is what you get, foot in mouth constantly.
Does that remind you of anyone, Aimee?
I don't know. Well, and the other thing is too, I will say, I love to dance, and the sweetheart that Tom is, regardless of how many hours he's on set, 17-hour days, I'll come bust in and I'll be like, Tom, would you be down with maybe doing a routine? Never says no. And I think I broke down the writers and they're like, she's gonna keep dancing, so we're gonna have to write an episode where she just dances, because otherwise it's just gonna drive us nuts. And they're so collaborative, and they just pick up on each person's quirks, and it's like an actor's dream. So it's my favorite role I've ever played, and I feel very fortunate to have been on a lot of great shows. And I don't know, I think she's really special, and I feel very honored to play someone like her.
So you like it? Okay.
I'm cheesy, I don't care.
I'll give you your $20 after the show.
The comic that this is based on, the Neil Gaiman Vertigo book, it ran for a long time. There's a wealth of information, a wealth of characters and stories, but there's also the Bible. Will we be seeing any biblical guest stars coming up?
It's funny. What are you guys doing?
That's a good question. That's a really good question, Mark.
It's funny because the first season when we were up here, one of the big things I said is this show it takes place on Earth. We'll never go to heaven. We'll never go to hell. And then we went to hell at the end of season 1 because we realized, that'd be really cool and really fun. So,
or like God is never going to come down.
And then
we don't know.
Sort of did, kind of.
Sort of did.
Or did he? So it's that weird game where, like, right now, we love keeping everything very grounded, and the challenge is, what can we take and bring into our world very subtly? There is one character from the Sandman books that I am desperate to get in, who is Gaudium, if anyone of the nerderies. Yes.
It has to be one day, sure.
Yes. So I'm going to get him in there somehow. We are going to bring characters in here and there, but really the focus of it, for the most part, is these characters, these earthbound figures, and playing with the fish out of water element that we have with them.
What we love to see is our celestial characters interact with humans and learn about humanity. We find that to be the sweet spot of the show. It's fun, it's meaningful.
But
you never say never.
We'll find out. We'd never expected to open a giant, curiously shaped portal to another dimension in the season either.
What did you call that in the writers' room again? I can't remember.
We called it the space vagina.
And you sent me through it.
And it was magnificent.
But it was.
You guys, it's just a rebirth metaphor. That's it. It wasn't because it made us giggle every single time.
I've heard tell that there's a new character joining the show this year. Tom, do you have any information about?
Spoiler alert. We might do actually. Would you like to meet him? I've got a feeling he might be here somewhere.
Oh my God.
Let me just.
That's a surprise.
By the way, there was a pool that I would spill the beans, which I didn't.
Guess what?
Turns out he might not be here actually. I can't believe it. The security out there is incredible. We almost couldn't get into our own panel, so that might be the issue.
We literally ran in here from.
Oh, he's not gonna.
He's gonna make it.
Oh,
yeah.
All right, so our possibly choreographed
Not here
reveal.
yet.
Wow.
We just wanted
She.
Or he.
We just wanted to tease you. We just wanted to get you guys all worked out.
This is what we call. We're trying to teach
part of the
Kevin how to do
plan.
improv. This is called yes and. All right.
Yes.
and.
So we'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Come back to that.
Cliffhangers.
Come back to that.
Yes.
Tell me about the decision when you end a season. Like, I'm assuming it's one of the, let me write ourselves into a box and then find a way out of that box later. What was the thinking behind giving Lucifer back his wings?
Well, as often is the case, we knew exactly what that meant. We had no idea, to be very honest. We had some thoughts. We had a lot of different thoughts on it, but we didn't know for sure, frankly. We all get together in the room, and for a good week, we just talk about the general season and what that could mean, and it really came down to identity, like Joe said. Because if he was defined by this, by the fact that he's the devil, and he cut off any connection to heaven by cutting off his wings, when they grow back, what does that mean? Who is he? Is he an angel? Is he the devil?
We very much come from the philosophy of what is the worst thing you could do to your characters? How can you hurt them the most and torture them, because that's where you find out their best sides and their worst sides. And so, season 1, it's oh God, my mother, which, some of us find to be a mildly terrifying concept. Now you know too much about me. So when we were starting season 2, it was one of the big things we talked about is he cut off his wings. Like, what an incredibly visceral, brutal thing to do. There must be so much emotion in that. And so while we were talking about the arc, it was a big part of, okay, this is something that clearly represents his relationship with his father. Let's put a big middle finger in his face and bring him back and see how he reacts.
Well, all right. We're going to move to fan questions in 1 second. So if you have questions, there are microphones here-ish. There's that to do with a hand. But while people get to the microphones, I want to offer the actors an opportunity. We have the showrunners here. We have your writers here. What's a thing you want to do next season?
Stop. No.
We're doing this. So, let's just lobby a request, and this crowd can shame the writers into making sure it happens.
You are an evil, evil man.
Yes. We're gonna have a deep voice.
I hope you're enjoying the
I'll start.
first time you've been moderating. And
like that was. Oh, I'm not gonna say it. Well, I know for me, what I would love to see happen in season 3, for Dr. Linda is, I would like for us to get to know her a little bit more, like what we talked about. Like that's actually the dream for me. And then also, I would love for Dr. Linda. I mean, she's never really found love, so I would like for her to be in a romantic relationship.
No, next.
I want Ella to have superpowers.
No.
I would like to see Dan just
No.
That's it. Yes, and I'd like to see Dan kick some major ass this year. Yeah! Just really put a pounding on somebody who really deserves it.
to see that.
Yeah. All right, we're warming up to this idea.
Maybe.
No.
I don't know what I want because I don't know who I am yet. I have
Identity, see?
yes, identity. I have no idea who.
She's that method.
Yet. I'm not in the first episode, so that we started filming. So I have yet to get my nuggets. I actually sat down. Everyone sat down in the writers' room, and we were asked that exact question. And I was just sort of a blank slate, going, "I know you did me good, but last season, so I trust you. I trust you. Go for it." Yeah.
You are going to regret trusting us.
She would really like to see more of Dan's abs. Let's be honest.
Charlotte will remember some of what Mom got.
I was lucky enough to see Hamilton a couple of weeks ago in New York. Isn't it amazing? So what I want to do is a hip hop episode. Because I believe
The 10 Commandments seem like they would land perfectly well.
God,
maybe we could bring Tu Vile back.
File from the pilot.
Ildy, you can write that one. I got it.
Also, Tricia's Nuggets is the name of my new band. Let's take the first question over here.
A shout out to the writer's room. Plushy Lucifer would like to know what the naughty stop is and where is it?
Plushy Lucifer!
What is it?
The what stop? The naughty
The naughty
stop?
stop?
The naughty step.
The naughty step.
The naughty step. That's when it's sort of like the mush pot or the like a timeout. You go sit on the naughty step.
The naughty step, it comes from a British show called Super Nanny, which was about a nanny that used to come and help people like who had horrendous children.
That's what I watched to learn how to raise my son, was Super Nanny. No, really.
And that was one of their tips.
I hated Alejandro.
I had a very different definition in my head. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, you do have another child on the way, so maybe the naughty step is already coming into play. I'm rhyming. We're in a musical. Okay, what do you got, buddy?
Hi, you mentioned maybe bringing back the little characters. Have you ever considered bringing back maybe souls from heaven or hell, like Al Capone or George Washington, and bring it back into real bodies? And if so, who would you want to bring back?
We'll bring George
that's
Washington back for the
fun.
Hamilton episode.
Gosh.
You can rap. That's a good question.
Lucifer did talk about, there's an upcoming episode where he talks about dealing with Hitler. That he was quite a yeller.
Yeah, quite yellow.
Yeah.
I'd love Father Frank to come back.
What are you saying? You're bringing him back from hell because Father Frank is in hell, you monster?
Not in hell, right? Yeah.
I would. Yeah, Coleman was awesome.
He was. I love Coleman Domingo.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hi. One of the coolest aspects of the show is Tom singing.
Woo!
All on the shower is great. Will season 3 have more of Tom singing, and are you going to come out with a soundtrack?
No. So there's actually a piano right underneath here that Tom's gonna.
Yes, there will be more singing actually. We've got, you might have seen on the reel actually, we have an episode where we end up doing an investigation in Las Vegas. And there's probably one of my favourite sequences we've shot on the show, which was a thing that me and Aimee did together, a little showbill Vegas number, Luck Be a Lady Tonight. So it's a lot of fun. But apart from that, bring out an album. Is that a good idea? Okay.
If you guys tweet about it, Warner Brothers pays attention. Just saying.
That's right. Someday, it is my dream to do the musical episode. It is my dream.
It's not just me that sings it. By the way, the rest of our cast have all got amazing voices, and we've realised that as we go along the way. So, a musical episode.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Hello.
Hi, this question is for Tom, and I just wanted to know if you had to practice to play the piano, or if you knew at a young age.
Spoiler alert. I don't play the piano. Well, I'm brilliant at air piano.
You play some.
I do a little bit, a tiny bit, but no, I don't. I sort of, I air piano.
You play.
It's all about the shoulders.
It's all about the
Sing a bit of that, then
Just crushed your soul. He can play Hey Jude. I've heard you play Hey Jude.
By the way,
it's the only thing I can play.
his air saxophone is amazing.
My air sax.
Oh, God.
What do you mean by that?
Hi, I want to say I love the shirt, Mr. Ellis, and also I was wondering if we were ever going to see any of Lucifer's firepower, the thing that makes him the light bringer.
Hello, send your resume as a writer.
That's for you guys, right?
Talk.
What have you ever? I'll have to defer that to our writers' room.
A big part of season 2 and a big part of the Flaming Sword was for us playing into the idea of the Lightbringer and what that means, and him being the one person that could ignite that sword. So that was really a big part of culminating that story. But I think not only is it sort of a metaphorical idea, but I think it speaks to the light within him, and there might be other ways we get to it. It's very much something on our minds when it comes to sort of the light within, which to me is also the biggest metaphor about the character. Is there's all of this sort of darkness and evil, but there's that light screaming to get out.
That was deep.
I went deep.
Hey Marty, how are you?
Hey guys, my question's for Tom and Kevin. You guys had one of the best fight scenes ever, the whole fight with the blade. I want to know how long did it take to shoot that, because there's no way I'd be able to do that without laughing, so it was the best.
Kevin was super sick. Which is super sick,
I think, yeah, I was coming down with something, but you know what? It went really, really smooth, actually. I think Tom and I were in such a rhythm that night, I remember, and we just did it, man, and we had so much fun. There were a couple of moments where Tom was just like, really? I was pretty funny. No, I remember at the end of the night, us both just saying, like, this is what it's meant to feel like at the end of a night of shooting, because we had so much fun.
Yeah, it was buzzing.
Yeah.
We do, I mean, we shoot the show pretty quickly. And it's kind of a testament to our crew, again, you know, that we are able to allude to the fact that that might have taken a long time. And, you know, I am blessed with the best cast in Hollywood, I believe, because they just, you know, they're always prepared, turn up, everyone's just on. So the reason that we get such great stuff is that everyone's sort of committed to doing that in the time frame that we've got, so, yeah.
By the way, that episode also has one of my, I think those are two of my favorite scenes, because there's that one, and then there's the Ella, Chloe, you scene where you guys choreographed the stabbing.
Oh, yes. You mean Yoga Massacre?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So this is what I love about this cast, to be totally honest. You know, I always say acting is like tennis. Like, you can't act with yourself. And what's so great is that people do their best work when the camera's on their fellow cast member, which is like such a dream. And so Germ was literally choreographing Tom and I, and Lauren German kept being like, closer to Tom's junk, closer to Tom's junk. You gotta get real, you gotta get close, like, and you gotta really do the stabbing, like, it's gotta be right there, like, it's really, and she was literally doing something so that we would get the laugh, and it was just such a generous...
I think our main note was, do it like a weather presenter, where you're just pointing at the map but not really aware of what's happening behind you. Up until seeing it, Aimee had no idea that I put my hand on her head.
And I'm like, whoa. But no, it's just great. Like, everyone likes to see everyone else shine, and it's just really.
But thank you for saying that our scene was one of your favorites. I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that.
Hey, Tom.
Yes. Oh, Mark. Let's make it spontaneous.
Hey, so I think there's a new guy coming on the show, right?
Yeah, we might have a new person on the show. Would you like to meet them?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Tom Welling to the cast of Lucifer. It's already gotten very confusing with the Toms.
Yes. Is it officially known as T2?
Yeah, we already have a nickname. T2.
Like a well-oiled machine, this panel continues.
What have you guys been talking about?
Oh, you know, makeup, hair.
Perfect. So, people who are here, tell me what Tom Welling is doing on Lucifer.
Yeah, what am I gonna do?
He's our new lieutenant.
Yes, Lieutenant Marcus Pierce.
He may or may not have a little eye for Detective Chloe Decker.
What? I don't see any chemistry happening there.
So, T2, Judgment Day. What was your words? How did this happen? What was your route to Lucifer?
Well, these two great showrunners gave me a call and asked me if I'd like to be a part of this wonderful show, and I'd already been a fan of the show, and it all came together. I mean, it's a great cast, it's a great story. I love the show already, and I think you're going to be very surprised about what this character does and what he gets away with. It'll be fun.
Tom is obviously a longtime member of the Warner Brothers family, and when his name came up, we were just like, oh my god, and people would come out of the woodworks and just be like, you need to work with this man. So we're thrilled to have him part of this cast. We finally have a cast member that's actually a good person. That's going to change our dynamic. Nice.
What? Damn it.
All right, Alton Brown Live. Now you have the pressure of the first question for Tom Welling. Go.
Or anyone.
All right.
Actually feeds into what I was going to ask anyway. God has been the primary antagonist in the show, although passively. Is he going to switch to active, or, and now I'll add in T2, is Tom going to be the antagonist for this season?
That might stick it. Thanks a lot, Tom.
That's okay, Tom.
You know, antagonist is an interesting word. No, we like to think of everybody who comes on the show as the hero of their own story. And that's really what Lieutenant Marcus Pierce is he's his own hero. No.
I can't imagine that there would be any tension between a new character coming in and any of our other characters. So he comes in and hugs everyone, and then gives them all pie. It's it's wonderful.
Yeah, Lucifer's totally like, you know what? Take a Decker and that guy they should get together.
Yeah,
He doesn't like
lovely.
that.
A lot of the fun is bringing in a new chaos character. A new character that shakes things up. Like in season 2, when we brought Mom in, it was just a nice big A-bomb that sort of sent everyone flying and activated stuff. And that's a similar thing that we're going to do with Lieutenant Marcus Pierce. It's going to be super fun because he is just going to just poke holes into everybody and just basically.
Yeah.
Or not.
Metaphorically and
Metaphorically. But we're really excited because it's a character that's just gonna blow stuff up.
It's funny you left that out when we discussed the role, but
I figured we'd build up to it.
Baptism by fire just now. Okay.
Awesome.
Oh my God, so much.
As much as I think we'd all love to answer that, I think we'd get in trouble. Somebody would give us that.
Well, go start with Tricia and work our way along because we've all got terribly.
Oh, nice stall.
Okay, thanks for throwing me that one, Tom. No, I did the first independent movie I ever did. It was my first year of acting. I was supposed to be running through the forest, scared because some bad guys were chasing me. And but as you know, quite often you can't really run as fast because the camera guy can't keep up to you, or they're running backwards with a steady cam, and so I wasn't very skilled at looking like I was running fast yet. It didn't come out very well. That's all, the rest of the movie was fine, but that one particular scene haunts me where I look at it and I just go, oh. Yeah. So I remember that distinctly. There's probably been many since, but that one was the first one that popped in my head.
For me, Jeff, that's a great question. I've been fortunate to have really great experiences with all the stuff that I've done, but I did shoot this commercial a long time, like one of the only ones I ever booked, and it was for Philips Electronics, and it was I'm about to date myself and age myself, but it was when they came out with this the little hard drive that you can put your pictures on and immediately upload it into your computer, way back when, and it was just this thing about that, and I get to play this little surfer guy, and he's like, hey, I'm so cool, and I had this big afro, and so there's this scene where the dude is like, and I put the thing in the computer, and my picture came up on the Jumbotron, and I put it on the Jumbotron, and my buddies like throw this Slurpee on my head, and go, ha ha, cherry bomb, and it was fun, it was great, and then so they're like chasing me through the water, and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting away with them so fast. And I stepped kind of the wrong way, and I broke my heel. And it just sort of cracked. But it was my first gig, and I was like, I got this. And I'm like, running out of the water a little slower. And it went great, but to this day, all my friends, doesn't matter what I do, I'm still cherry bomb. That's my trick.
I actually really enjoy every job. I know I'm very optimistic. But one experience that I had, I remember coming to LA. I didn't have an agent, and I went to the front desk, and everyone's like, "It's so hard to get an agent, so hard." So I was like, "Can you just let them know Aimee Garcia's here?" And they're like, "Go right on up." And I was like, "Oh my God, how hard could this be?" The elevator doors open. The agent looks in, sees me. The smile goes to a frown, and they're like, "Oh, I thought they said Andy Garcia." Elevator doors close.
That's awful. I can't really top that. For me, it was more of an audition. When I was living in New York, and I didn't have it was in like a thing too where I didn't have an agent, and I was auditioning for, I don't even remember the product that I was auditioning for, but it was in a glass room where all the actors that were auditioning could see you. like auditioning. Like it was the worst possible thing ever. But you walk into the room, and the people that are sitting behind the table that are watching you audition don't speak any English. And I'm telling you, this was like super duper non-union. So it's like, it was sketchy in the first place, but I was desperate. So you go in for the audition. And I remember I was sitting there waiting by myself, and they said, "Come on in." And then a couple other people showed up after me and were sitting there, and I was weirded out by that, but I was like, it's fine. So they didn't say come on in, they just motioned for me to come in. And somebody hits like a boom box. Okay, put on a boom box, and then they just look at me like this, and they go. and I looked at them and I'm like, okay. And then they're like, no, like this. So there's music playing. So I just start dancing. This look on my face, like I don't know what I'm doing, and no one's telling me what I'm supposed to do. And I did not get that job.
I would have hired you. That's... very early in my career, I got a little part on the movie, but I was there for a long time doing this movie. And I had about 4 lines in it. And then when the movie came out, I went to go and see it with a friend of mine. I was like, I'm in a movie. I was playing an American soldier in it, and when I watched the movie, my 4 lines had been dubbed by another actor. Because my Yankee accent wasn't up to scratch. Crushed. I was crushed.
Can I just say for the record, a lot of us we like Tom's British accent, right? Who doesn't like Tom's British accent? And so he does an American accent. And I will be honest with you, that I was like, don't do that anymore. I don't like it. I don't like who that is. I like it better British.
My fiance said to me that you talking with an American accent is the equivalent of me having a breast reduction. So just.
Can I just do a quick?
Oh, come on, you guys. I can't just burst into some kind of American accent. It's just.
I like it British. It's so charming. And like so
well, for it was later on in my career. In fact, it was yesterday. I was on set. I had my first scene for the show with Lauren. This is my talking stuff. And there's a scene where I approach from behind her and walk around, and the camera is on her, and she starts to talk about explaining like. I don't understand what just happened, and don't worry about it, and I'm supposed to interrupt her, and then she interrupts me and continues, and it's the first take, we do a couple rehearsals, everything's great, we're ready to shoot. So I walk around, and I face her, and she starts going, and she's bam, 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 and all of a sudden she stops talking, and I'm looking at her, and I'm going, oh, that's really great. Like in my head, I'm just like, oh, she's really good, like this is going to be a great show, I'm really excited. Everything everyone said about this show is really great, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know if she should be looking at me like that. This is awkward. And then I realized it was my line. And they said, cut, and I don't know who it was, it might have been Lauren, who's like, a little rusty there, Tom?
Because you've been waiting so patiently, you get the last question.
Oh.
You, yeah.
No pressure.
No camera. Just make it awesome.
Well, this is my first year at Comic-Con, and this was
Me too.
the reason I came. Yeah.
You seem to have embraced it quite well, actually. It's so, I mean, like we just started shooting again this week, and the first day felt a bit strange, and then it was like back into the groove again. It is quite eerie how quickly that happens. It was quite eerie actually when I first got the job, and the first a load of my mates were like, "Oh my God, you're perfect for it." And I was like, "What does that mean?"
I'll actually, really quick, I'll tell you why you're perfect for it, because it's a role that can easily go into a one-dimensional thing, and Tom imbues it with such an incredible heart, and that's what makes the show work, because the devil is anyone you know.
And on that note, boys and girls, we are done. Give it up for the